Hi guys, so I am going to show you different filters and also a little bit more of those layer effects that we worked on before. And the first one I wanted to show you was I wanted to show you blur because if you notice, blur has like two galleries. I think because Photoshop is such a photography based or kind of inspired program, they have lots of blur. So one of them I'll show you is, let's look at motion blur. So with motion blur, you could kind of, I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can see better. You could see the blurring, right? It looks like it's in motion, etc. This is kind of like the tilt of the motion that's happening. Once you're done, you can click OK. I wanted to show you one more just to show you the difference of how the filters look. So if you look at iris blur, this looks a little bit different. It's like a whole window that pops up, and I can make this a little bit smaller just to show you the difference. So I could actually create my blur, and if you notice, it does this like gradient here, and then this is still in focus more or less, and then it fades out. So this is great if you want to like make something in focus and the background be blurred out. Okay, so once you're done, you can click OK, and then it's applied. One thing though is with this filter, it is applied permanently to your layer. There is something called smart filters that you could do, like you could convert it for smart filters, which will not affect your layers if you don't want it to. All right, so I'm going to move on. So I'm on cloud layer. There's nothing on it because how this filter works is depending on the colors you choose. So I choose this blue and this white, and I go to filter, render, and then click on clouds, and it has this automated cloud filter or pattern, so to speak. With this filter, there is no customized screen. The only customizing you can do is the colors you choose. So another rendered filter you might be interested in is difference cloud, which kind of does the inverse of the colors you choose. So there's that. I'm going to show you another one with renders. So again, I'm going to choose different colors. With these two colors, I'm going to go to filter, render, and fibers, because I also like the texture of this. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. You could change the features, like how much and how little effects you have, and then the strength. And so, you know, you could kind of create kind of these textures through the filters here in Photoshop that you might be interested in. So I click on that. So again, these had nothing on them. These were filters that were created by the colors that you chose. Again, that's filter and render. I would definitely check out tree, and they give you lens flare. Definitely play around with lighting effects just to see how it works. But I'm going to move on. All right, so next one is, let's do that so you can see it better. So on this layer, I wrote twirl, and I used a paintbrush, and I created this mark. And I'm going to show you another filter. You probably recognize this when we did the Godzilla fire. I used liquefied and also used ripple effects, but this time I'm going to use twirl. So if I zoom out, so here's the line that we created, and then I could actually kind of twirl this image into something completely new. So with this Iron Man figure, I wanted to show you some layer styles that we didn't get to before. So I was thinking you could try the outer glow. So some things that you should be aware, the default will probably look more like, I was playing around with this, so this is why it's like this, but it'll probably be like white or something. We can't see that, so I'm going to change the color to, sorry about that, let's say we'll go with like a reddish orange. Click OK. And the reason why you're seeing this kind of darkened is because if you look at the blend mode, it says darken here. If I go to like normal, you'll see a little bit more of that color. So you could think about the noise where it looks really pixelated, like spray, where you could kind of make it softer if you want. You could also play around the opacity, like do you want there to be transparency or not? So you could play around with that. There's also this option for like color to transparent. You could choose not to do that. And there's actually all these like different kind of preset gradients that you could explore as well. And then there's like spread, like we've done drop shadow before. It's, you know, do you want it to be closer? Do you want it to be more? Also with the size is like how much is the spread, I guess, of that. So you could do that. There's precise and there's softer. So, you know, something you want to play around with and maybe apply to something that you're working on. It's totally fine. I'm gonna think about, let's do something on this one. So with the twirl, I'm gonna transform it. I'm gonna make it smaller, and so I put it around there. Okay, so let's say I want to apply another kind of style, layer style. Let's get inner glow. So with inner glow, you have again different modes that you could use. You could use something called overlay. These are all really subtle, so I'm going to just do normal. And let's say we go with something that's a little bit darker. So I don't know if you could see that kind of outlines it, but you could think about, you know, how much opacity. Maybe you want to kind of go into the, so this is inner glow, so it's kind of working inward on that object you're creating. Again, you could just like play around with it, check things out, see what kind of effects you might want. Do you want less noise? Do you want more noise? You could do that. Again, just to let you know, you could also think about different effects you want to include. So just include beveled. So if you take a look, it kind of creates this like 3D paint kind of look to it. So you can kind of play around with making things look, something that's flat, making it look kind of three-dimensional. So that's another thing that I wanted to show you, to just be like, hey, this is something you could work on and play around with.